I'm going to take a shot on this one.
I'm going to say beer.
I'm buying everybody around on this. Oh my God.
So welcome back, everybody, to the Big Apple Hockey Bar Talk, where we gauge our confidence on NHL topics based on our choice to drink. What are you going to do? You're going to buy everybody around? You're so confident? You're just going to have a beer because it's so-so? Or, oh, God, you need a shot. Well, and we start off with the New York Rangers, and the Rangers are developing Lafreniere and Kakko properly. Mr. John Volkowski.
I am going to say beer, and I get it. No pick, no matter where they're picked in the draft, is the same as the next pick. And development is anything but linear. It doesn't work that way. Every player is different. Every team is different. And usage, coaching, everything. There's so many different variables. But I have a hard time believing that these two are being developed to the best of the ability that a team can do. So I'm not going to say that they're being developed poorly, but I'm also not happy with their development so far. And I think that this team has done such a piss-poor job of putting players in positions to succeed. Hi, David Quinn. Yeah, we're a big part of that. And I think that when you have Chris Drury berating a player in front of an entire team for exercising a clause in his contract, it's a horrible optic. So I am going to say beer, but I'm this close to saying shot because although I've seen flashes of what Kakko and Lafreniere can do, it's not consistent enough. It's not there, and I need more from these two. So, you know what? Maybe something needed to change, but I'm not going to say shot. I'm going to stay in the middle, and I'm going to try to play glass half full for now. So, beer.
Anthony.
I mean, he's pretty much spot on. I know when Quinn was there, he certainly wasn't developing them properly. Maybe that's hurt them in a little bit here, still under Gallant. But at the end of the day, look, I know, some Ranger fans who maybe aren't as informed or just see these guys selected at first, second overall. Maybe their, expectations were unrealistic. They thought they were going to come in and, set the world on fire. So that maybe kind of, threw some people off on what they would be. But they still need to give you more. I think it's key to the long-term success. I know for a while they weren't being used in the right areas and getting enough playing time. But at some point, if you're truly that good, you could overcome those things and, still produce at a pretty decent clip. So I think under Gallant, I think these guys are in good hands. I think it's going to be on them now to finally show what they got because, especially this year is going to be end of Kakko's third year. And if he has, and we talked about it in the summertime, if he has another, and it looks like he's on pace for it, things don't change. But if he ends the season kind of like he's playing now and not putting up numbers, I think it's going to affect what type of term and money the Rangers give him as an RFA this year.
Bridge.
And he's not going to get much money because you're not going to invest big time dollars in term into a guy who's giving you very little offensively. So, again, way too early to write these guys off. But as a Ranger fan, you have to start to be at least a little concerned.
So, what is it?
Beer.
Okay. All right. There we go. And I'm going to cut it off right there and wait a second so that way I can put my beer up there as well. So that way people aren't confused. But I'm going to also go in a different thinking from you guys because part of the problem is the Rangers aren't the Detroit Red Wings who bottomed out and have these rookies playing top power play unit minutes, top line minutes. I mean, Kakko is, Lafreniere is not. There's a lot that they have to do. And if they were in different situations, they weren't buried in the lineup. They're on a team that's trying to make the playoffs. So they just got to be contributors. Could they be stars eventually? Yeah. I like sometimes what I've seen out of Kakko, and there's other times where he's been completely invisible. But that same thing with Lafreniere and a lot of these guys. Same thing with Chris Kreider, and we've been talking about him for the last 8 years. So I really think just kind of calm it down a little bit. But we've talked about it before. If it was a situation where Lafreniere and Kakko were on the top power play unit and they're not producing anything, because after all, as a friend of mine said to me this week, Noah Dobson's got as many points as Kakko or Lafreniere. I don't know who that was. But yeah, it's just, the situation is they're playing the veterans first. The Kakko and Lafreniere aren't getting their ice time as much as everyone else. Everybody calm down. Ice time is how you develop. You learn by doing.
No, of course. But here's one thing that I wanted to say before you guys were talking about. We were talking about like the scoring, and Anthony was mentioning how like Mika was putting up points, and Fox and Panarin are going to produce elite levels. If you look at the Rangers scoring, their scoring is coming from basically all the guys on that top unit. And then the secondary scoring, there's a major drop off afterwards for everybody that's not on that unit, and that's on power play number 2. So if you start giving these guys more time to give you more points, then maybe they can take that next step. But as some of the commenters in here in the chat have been saying, it doesn't seem like they want to give them that. Why is
play 2 on the Rangers exists like a Mike Keenan backup goalie?
Yeah, exactly.
They're there, but are they gonna be used?
Yeah.
So I mentioned the name Noah Dobson before, Anthony, and I say this: the Islanders need to feature Noah Dobson more, Mr. Larocco.
Round. I think his draft year. I know my boy Philk over here was an advocate on him. I would have liked to see him on the Rangers. I think he's still got a really high pedigree. And I think, like you said, he's a younger guy. They brought him along with kids' gloves his first year, to the point where the guy sat in the press box for 40-something games. And even last year too, they kind of sheltered him. But now, based on Pullock's injury and COVID, he's kind of thrust into the things, and he's starting to become a little more offensively. You see him joining the play, joining the rush a lot more. He's getting more power play minutes. He got his, not anything to write home about, but he got his 9th point yesterday. So, and with Pullock out right now, I mean, he's definitely their most offensive defenseman. He skates well. He's a big guy. And I think he could be a really good defenseman in this league. And I think right now, with the way the Islanders season's going right now, it can't hurt to give the younger guys more of a role. Like I said, Wahlstrom, he's playing much more confidence now. So, and I think you see that in Dobson. Again, his defensive game, decision-making, every now and then he has a little bit of a blunder. I mentioned that game against the Predators where he really cost them at least 1 point with that play at the end of the game. But overall, I've been liking his game, and when a defenseman chips in offensively, I think that's a good sign that their confidence is growing, and he's doing stuff that he didn't do his first couple of years in the league. So definitely play him more, get him more comfortable playing against the more skilled players in this league, and hopefully he really can solidify himself as a legitimate top pairing defenseman.
Philk.
I'm buying everybody around on this. I right now, it just seems like he's arguably their best defenseman. I know everybody's going to talk about Adam Pelech and how well of a shutdown or how good of a shutdown defender he is, and how he's really a minutes eater. But Dobson is eating minutes of, as you can see there, almost 20 minutes, just under 20 minutes a game. And it seems like he's developing and taking his game to the next level. You can tell in the way that he handles the puck and moves the puck. He's playing with a lot more conviction and confidence in everything that he does. I just like the way that his game has taken that next step this season. I think if the Islanders want to make a push, then Noah Dobson's gotta continue to eat minutes. I don't know if you're necessarily going to go get another top 4 defensemen. I guess maybe with the lines, with their configurations, with wanting to get Pelech and Pullock back together, and then Mayfield being a right side guy and Dobson also being a right side guy. I guess I would put Noah Dobson on the third pair just because they love Mayfield's shutdown ability, but I don't understand why you wouldn't want to go forward with a guy that's supposed to be your probably your core defender going forward. So this has got to be around.
I'm going to go around as well because I think I'm the one that proposed this question. I think they need to use him more on the power play. I think they need to use him more at even strength. If you're going to start splitting up Pelech and Pullock when they come back, then that's what you're going to have to do. Sometimes you split up a defense pairing and a second one will take off after that. Look at the New York Rangers in 2012 and 2011. Mark Stahl was not available. Ryan McDonough went on there. Ryan McDonough became an elite level defenseman over the next 3 years. So let's say if they end up doing something like that, moving Dobson up and moving Pelech or Pullock, either one away. So I also can't help but say the kid's starting to look a lot better. Yes, he's got the brain farts. Everybody does. So
It's going to happen at a young age.
What are you going to do? I mean, that's how you learn. Not everybody is a polished product at the end when they first make the league. So it's okay. As we were just talking about with Lafreniere and Kakko. So, by the way, this is what's interesting. As I said this, Dobson's 4th on the Islanders at 1955 in ice time or time on ice. Do you know who leads the league in average ice time?
Is it Drew Doughty?
Anthony?
I don't know.
Thomas Chabot.
Wow.
26 minutes, 52 seconds average per game.
I know Doughty was leading the league like earlier on in the year. He logs an unreal amount of time for LA.
Right. I actually didn't see in the comments if anybody got that, but that would be also nice.
Speaking of defense, real quick, I just gonna throw this thing. I just happened to see it. Elliot Freeman saying that the Coyotes are taking calls on Jacob Chytil, but they said the ask is massive. But that's a guy I would. He would fit he would fit a lot of teams like a glove, but I would move a lot for the Islanders to get Jacob Chytil.
Right. And Phil's got something on that right now.
I can't say who I've heard this from, but
don't worry.
I've heard that the Rangers were in talks with a Western Conference team. It's believed that Arizona might be one of them. There have been names that have been mentioned. Braden Schneider was one of them, and it's a possibility that this was being talked about for Jacob Chytil. Schneider and others were being mentioned, but it was for a player with term. So that's not Phil Kessel. So that would lead me to believe if, in fact, they are talking to Arizona, maybe they are talking about Jacob Chytil. But I don't know how you make that work with the cap. Someone would have to be going back. So
I also don't know how you make that work with that roster. You already have Jacob Trouba on power play unit 2. You have Nils Lundkvist you're developing on power play 2.
I would take Jacob Trouba off power play 2 if it meant getting Jacob Chytil.
I know, but then you're paying. What are you paying him $8 million for?
I mean, if the Rangers got Jacob Chytil, that would be absurd. But I mean, I can't imagine the Coyotes not demanding Nils Lundkvist in that deal. They'd be dumb if they didn't.
And eventually, you are going to go up against the cap.
Yeah.
2 other teams in the Metro Division. This one is a bit of a stretch, guys, but I don't think it's that much of a stretch. The Pittsburgh Penguins will win the Metro. I'll start this. I'm buying everybody around. I'm going to call it right now.
You did it last year, too.
I'm going to take the 3rd team in that division, which is the Pittsburgh Penguins. Watch out for them because they're getting their game together.
Yeah, I did it last year. It's just there are certain teams you never count them out. Oh God, I hate the Penguins so much as a fan, but I can't help but look as a pundit and go, they're going to get back Evgeny Malkin. they're going to have those 3 line setups with Malkin, Carter, and Crosby. I don't know about their fourth line, but they're playing great anyway. They're only 5 points behind. I mean, they're going to take off. They're going to do it. And they've already played hard teams like Tampa plenty and Toronto. I think they beat up Toronto, if I recall that the last time. Anthony.
I'm going to go shot. The Capitals are taking the division, I think. And it's funny because these two teams we're talking about when they were going to fall off, and certainly looking it's not this year, but I think the Capitals are going to take it. I mean, I think they're going to get Nick Backstrom back pretty soon. Ovechkin's a man on the mission. I mean, he looks like he found the fountain of youth, fucking swan dove right in there, splashed around for a little bit, got out, and I just realized I dropped the F-bomb there before, but I get fired up when I talk about Ovi. He looks like he's just young again. He's third in the league in points, I believe. And thank you, Core. There, he got activated today. But I think it's the Caps, and the Caps are taking it, and it's going to be Ovi on his back.
Philk.
I am going to say beer. The reason why I say beer is because Washington, like Anthony said, is getting back Nicholas Backstrom. And you have Alexander Ovechkin, who's still on pace for 59 goals without Nicholas Backstrom. Just think about that at that age. That's just absurd. Carolina is also a really, really good team. And you have 3 guys like Slavin, Pesci, and then D'Angelo, who's continuing to put up points for them. And that power play is nuts. Their offense up and down is just stacked. And they have guys like Andrei Svechnikov's not even having a great year. Wait until he starts coming around and starts scoring.
Speaking of number 2 picks that struggle.
Yeah. So, I honestly, I think that Pittsburgh is going to make a run. And they're going to be in the thick of things, but I don't think they win the division, so I'm only going to say a beer there.
Yeah, I don't understand why teams around the league don't understand that Tristan Jarry doesn't have a left arm, but it's just he's played great. Can't argue with that. But that glove side in that playoffs was not very good, so We'll see about that one. If you like that video, we got a lot more. So check out any of these that are right over here. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.